Welcome to the Quick Stop F1 Podcast. My name is Tasha, and you could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us, and we appreciate that. This weekend, we are in Mexico for the Mexican GP. Quali has just ended, and to debrief with me is my friend from the Monoplaza F1 Podcast, Emmy. Emmy, welcome back. How are you doing?
Hey, I'm good. How are you? Thanks for having me.
I'm so happy that you're here. I'm excited to debrief with you because we were having some fun on Twitter today.
Yeah, I'm not gonna let. We can start early. I'm not gonna let slide that you jinxed Yuki. That's why I tweeted you back. I was like, hold that.
Oh, yeah, that was my bad. Yeah,
I was like,
in my defense, what I tweeted was true. I said thus far he's having a great weekend, and he was. He was out of 2 out of the 3 practice sessions, top 3. He's finally got his test with Red Bull in Abu Dhabi after the season ends. Like, you know, he's doing this thing. So made it to Q2. In Quali, so I wasn't tweeting lies.
Oh yeah, and then
I also tweeted knock on wood, but let me tell you, I definitely forgot to do that. I didn't do the actual knock on wood.
Hey, no, you know what? Things are looking up for La Yuquita. So we'll see what happens. He's getting that test. You're right. He's getting that test. But as long as Helmut Marko is on that team, Yuki Tsunoda is not going to get that driver's seat. Right. I said what I said.
Listen, as long as he gets the test, that's all that matters. I'm like, stop playing with him. Just like at least test him, please, because it's pathetic to like dangle him around like that and not at least give him a test. So I'm looking forward to whatever that brings.
Hey,
we can move on. We'll get some closure after that. You know what I mean?
We'll see. Yeah, hopefully, we'll see. Yeah. For sure. 100%.
Yeah. So last week we were in Austin. This week we're in Mexico. I guess just before we get started, like, what were you kind of expecting? If you have any expectations from last week coming into this weekend?
I was fully expecting, as a Mercedes, let me take it back. As a Lewis Hamilton fan, I was fully expecting for last week to spiral into this week, meaning like the parts weren't all there. They were developing stuff, so they weren't going to have everything. So Lewis was SOL, blah, 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 this, that, and the third. So yeah,
right.
I expected the worst. I also did expect the carryover to be Ferrari to continue doing well, and for McLaren and Red Bull to duke it out, right? So like now, like Max and Red Bull are playing like that game of distraction, and like the fact of the matter is, all Lando has to do is finish ahead of Max,
right?
And he's not doing that. Meanwhile, you got Helmut Marko in the peanut gallery yapping, and you got Max Verstappen playing mind games, talking about Oscar Piastri is not a number 2 driver. If I was Oscar, I was like, here we go, bro. What?
Talk about a jinx, though. Because ever since he said that, oh man.
So I was expecting that mostly, again, a continuation of Ferrari's good fortunes and a continuation of, let's call it Lewis Hamilton, but now we can morph that Mercedes terrible luck, because 3 years in, and well, you know how the rest of that goes, right? They don't know what they're doing.
No, they don't. Which has been really frustrating hearing Toto as usual. I think last week in Austin, he says after like one of the practice sessions, like the updates worked. No, they didn't.
Were we watching the same race?
Get out of here.
You know
what it really did it for me was when Lewis offered George the upgrades off of his car, and George was like, actually, I'm good. And he just rode with the older kit. He was like, nah, I'm good. Nobody wanted that shit on their car.
Yeah. George got ahead of his Mexico GP Spanish practice, was like, no gracias, I'm good. Appreciate you, big dog.
I'm good. Yeah, I'm good.
That's all I needed to know. Those upgrades were working, right? Like,
and now they're, completely reverting back to, I think, the Silverstone spec. So we're not even.
Is it? Dang.
They're out of parts. We're out of money. The cost cap apparently is kicking our ass, which, coming into practice, actually, we can talk a little bit about. First up, Kimi drove Lewis's car for FP1. There was some debris in the road, which Kimi drove over, on accident, just drove over some like metal shrapnel. Yep. So that damaged the floor that, they they had for Lewis's car. And I don't think they had any spares. So they're, Frankensteining that. And then we get to FP2. They're doing the Pirelli tire test. And George is on like an experimental set of tires for next season and just has like a real nasty shunt and completely damages the car. So...
I mean, listen, Mercedes works hard to get George ahead of Lewis, but George works harder to wreck these cars. It's like wisdom is chasing them, but they are outrunning it.
Right.
All right. Anyways, but hey, shouts out. I will say, shouts out to Kimi Antonelli for respecting Lewis's car. And they honestly put him on a more reliable, reasonable run plan. Right.
Yeah.
But he said, no, don't worry, Lewis. I'm not gonna wreck your car, bro.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna
crash yet.
I'm cruising. I'm good. Lewis was like, oh, okay, yeah, man. Wreck it if you want. Don't matter to me, big dog.
Right.
Like,
so they have had, like you said, kind of coming from last week in Austin, where it felt like a very disastrous weekend, by the way, for Mercedes. So that coming into this, it just did not bode well for them in terms of just a lot of things. Just the morale feels very low coming into it. To see their mishaps already occurring in free practice, I'm like, damn, we're really going to have to do this again for, back to back. So,
listen, but wait, hold on. Let me ask you this though. All right. Have we been conditioned to be happy with a Lewis Hamilton top 10 and saying, you know what? That's all right. Like, I'm good. Like, for me, I'm looking at these practices. I'm like, yeah, look, he's doing all right. And, and literally, and I know you like tweeted it out, right? It's like, oh, we made out Q1. We made out Q2. And I was like, yo, they got us fully gaslit at this point.
So sad.
Like, why are we happy with a P6? Because...
But I mean, like, for this weekend, Lewis was in the car for practice for all of one session, you know what I mean? Like half an hour maybe because of the amount of like red flags we had and stuff. So for that reason, it was actually really surprising for him to end up P6. Just to get through to Q1 in general, first of all, because of just the way that things were playing out with the car, the pace seemed a little bit slow.
Tasha, I'm taking that P6. Don't let my previous comment distract you from the fact that I was like, okay.
Yeah, sigh of relief for sure.
Because Goat Pacemilton will do the rest tomorrow, right?
Yeah,
so,
let us pray. Yeah, the thing with the W15 though, and I think that we're learning and that I'm like seeing is just how unpredictable it is, and I do think that's extremely scary. Like seeing George, this is like his second crash in 2 weeks. Lewis has this uncharacteristic, spin into the gravel in Austin. I think for me, yes, I'm glad that they were able to end up P5, P6 for the race tomorrow, excuse me, P6, P7 for the race tomorrow. But yeah,
P6, P7?
Hold on. Maybe I'm looking at the wrong thing. My bad.
I'm saying because you scared me. I was like, oh, what happened?
P5, P6. My bad. I was looking at the driver standings for too many tabs open,
It's all good.
But I mean, so that's great and everything, but just seeing, Lewis last race in Austin, he went from 17 to P12 in the blink of an eye, and it's oh, this is great, we're gonna have a great race, and then he doesn't even barely turn the wheel and the car is flipped around. So
he was lifting too. So according to Toto, he was lifting. So imagine that. So that was Austin, and I was super happy. Charles won. That was great. Yeah, awesome. Lando and Max doing Lando and Max things. Ferrari won too. Awesome. Yeah. But imagine then. I'm not gonna say it was a bitter taste. It was bittersweet, I guess, because I'm super happy that Charles won. But not coming into Mexico, right? I was like, I'm so bad that I was like, I just want Lewis to be top 10 in qualifying and finish the race. Let's just do that. Let's finish the race. In the interim, right? Yeah. Oof.
Yeah. So that's where we're at with Mercedes. I mean, I don't even know what else to say about that. So let's move on.
Yeah, no, for our sanity, 100%. No, I'm good. No, we're done. No. Keep it pushing. Let's go.
Yeah. Speaking of like Charles, because this has been an interesting narrative that I've been seeing forming. Is he actually entering the chat, like this narrative that, oh, maybe there's this possibility that he can come in and, win the driver championship. I don't know if I'm there, but I definitely do feel like that second place is at risk. You know what I mean? So how are you feeling about that? Especially in the way that he's been driving and Ferrari's been kind of, on top of business recently.
I'm feeling very confident. Charles, let me backtrack. I'm feeling very confident that he's going to finish P2.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes. Mathematically, absolutely, he's still in it. But for me, anytime you have to say mathematically somebody is still in it, all that lets me know is that your fate is not in your hands.
Right.
That's literally in layman's terms, you don't control your own fate. That's all true. Mathematically means to me. But Charles Leclerc is closer to Lando Norris than Lando Norris is closer to Max Verstappen. And then
sorry, just to jump in, but they're just 22 points apart at the moment.
And Max just keeps increasing his lead over Orlando, right?
Right.
So a crazy stat that I found out within the last, not counting obviously Mexico, the last 6 races, Charles Leclerc has podiumed at least 4 of those and won 2 of those. So had it not been for that stretch, that was like from Monza to Spa.
Right.
Yeah, this would have been a completely different conversation.
Absolutely,
and Charles Leclerc, obviously, I know I'm preaching to the choir. For me, is better equipped to take a fight to Max
1,000%
than Lando is.
Absolutely.
So I'm fully confident he's gonna surpass Lando. All right. Because if there's not a catastrophe that happens in turn 1 tomorrow, I know Max wasn't super confident in that car, and I don't truly feel like the McLaren's faster than the Ferrari this race. So I'm looking at another Ferrari 1-2.
Yeah, last week it looked like for me, just after the sprint and after Quali, it looked like Carlos would have been the winning Ferrari, just because of the vibe he was giving was like, he has something kind of to prove. I am glad that Charles won. And I'm glad that Ferrari, first of all, that 1-2 was insane. Like, came out of nowhere. But, to this whole like narrative of, Charles and even Ferrari, I believe, are just behind, like constructors are just behind Red Bull and could overtake them as well in the standings. Yes. So Ferrari has been kind of like trucking along. And like we talked about before, like for most of the season, they've kind of just been moving in silence or, a little bit like felt like they were reverting back a little bit, but really they've just been kind of trundling. Yeah. So the fact that they're still kind of mathematically in it, but I think more than mathematically because of the fact that they are having like very strong performances, very strong pace. 100%. The strategy is actually there. Like they're actually functioning 100%. Like a real Formula One team. So yeah.
So right now it's surprising, like the narrative changed from last year to this year. I have more confidence in Ferrari and their strategy and their team and their drivers than I do in McLaren.
Yeah.
Right. And maybe that's like not a stretch, but you've seen a Charles Leclerc that's matured. You've seen a Carlos Sainz, obviously, that has nothing to lose and everything to prove. Like, y'all messed up. And then obviously you'll see all the journalists. Oh, did Ferrari make the right move by blah, 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 letting it go? But like, I'm really, really confident in what Ferrari is able to do. Obviously, early on the season, we talked about they handled their tire deck situation. Obviously, all of their upgrades maybe weren't as great. Obviously, everything past Monza was kind of catastrophic, so they reverted back. I will say, had their strategy not has been as aggressive in Silverstone, again, maybe Charles probably would have finished a P6.
Right.
Maybe higher, but at least in the points, right? So full circle again, more confident in Charles Leclerc moving up than Lando Norris. Yeah, because again, Lando's mathematically in it. And you could ask the question like, do we think Lando's gonna win? But does Lando think he can win? Like somebody on like the coverage asked that question. I was like, dang.
I mean, right. I think Lando, there was a quote. I mean, he said something like that Max was faster than him. I'm paraphrasing because I like read it and just like kept scrolling because I was like, this is why I don't mess with you, because yes, there's a difference between like giving your opponent like props or whatever.
Yeah.
And then just like straight up like rolling over. And like, I just feel like we're in the rolling over phase, like where he's actually accepted that he's not going to do it. He's going to try, but you know, most likely like where we're at is this: Max hasn't won in like how many races? 9 races now?
9
and he's
races.
Still leading the championship. So for all we're talking about Lando basically having to, be perfect. Like he needs to be perfect. He hasn't been able to do that. But then on the other hand, Max just has to do damage limitation, and he's been able to do that this entire time. The car has had actual faults and weekends where it hasn't been all together, but he still has managed to put together better weekends than Lando Norris, and Lando's car has been in a better position each time. So yeah, I think Lando kind of doesn't realize the kind of like mental fortitude, toughness that it takes to get to where Max is at. Max is stone cold. Like he's winning and he's not even winning. Do you know what I mean? Like that's hard to wrap your head around.
Absolutely. It's mind games that's being played. And again, like this is, I would say like this is not us taking shots at Lando's mental health, nothing like that. It's literally, are you equipped to seize them? Wow, that's so corny. Can you grab that opportunity and take the fight to Max? But Max,
can you grab the bull by the horns?
Oh my land. Max has been here before. And I would say like, obviously there's a handful of drivers on the grid who can handle that. Right. And then I think that they being Red Bull have seized on an apparent weakness of Lando and just have been taking like these like pot shots. And let's bring your self-esteem down, your confidence. Let's go ahead and take that down several notches. And I think obviously it's working. Yes, Max has been methodical in that he's not winning races, but he's on the podium. He's a P2. He's finishing ahead of Lando with the exception of, what was the last race that Lando won? I don't even remember. But even then, Max was like P2 or something like that. I don't even know.
Right.
So it's a wrap. Now, it would be delicious. Weird choice of words. If Charles Leclerc came through, like you said, real G's moving silence like lasagna, and just snuck up and won that championship while both of them were like fighting. Charles was like, cool. That would be just
we can dream. I mean, there's 2 sprints left, 5 races left. I don't know.
Planets have to align. Mercury has to be in retrograde
and
again.
It's that they need to outscore Max by like dozens of points at this moment. Like, I mean, if we can talk about the Red Bull this weekend, they had to change out Max's engine. It would have been nice if they left that engine in his car for the race, and then maybe we would have got like a mechanical DNF situation. But
absolutely,
they're covering all the bases. You can't win.
I guess I would say, let me throw a question back at you tomorrow. I mean, we always say, oh, turn one is going to be Do you feel like the desperation of Lando to win, to make a move, to do whatever is going to cause a catastrophe for those two? They're obviously not lining up on the same row because it's Carlos, Max, Lando, Charles, but between like those two. So what I'm saying is like, obviously Lando needs to finish the race, but if he somehow causes Max to crash, because throughout the free practice sessions you saw Max Verstappen that wasn't super happy with the car. Obviously his driving style allowed him to put a lap together and do what he does, right? He's methodical. But I guess you feel like there's a chance of catastrophe between those two in turn one, given the pressure that Lando's under? Or is Max just going to be like,
Right. I feel like pressure makes Lando retreat, kind of like we saw in Austin, right? Like he left, big wide gap, and Charles was like going to go through, like, you know what I mean? Like, I think Lando leaves opportunities for other people to capitalize, and unfortunately he doesn't capitalize on these things. So I don't think there will be a catastrophe. Every time we try to, ruminate on one happening, it just never does.
Never happens.
It never does. But also I think it's the whole thing of like, Max is leading. He can afford a DNF at this point.
Absolutely.
Lando cannot. So if they come together, like always, it's no skin off of Max's back, So it's just, I think it's going to make Lando aggressive, but I think he'll probably just try to get out of, turn one shenanigans and then maybe, try to think his way out of the situation. But I don't think he's going to try anything crazy because it doesn't benefit him to do that.
That makes sense. And obviously, I don't know what it is now, but I think it's almost like he has to outscore him by 12 points now. So last weekend it was like 9.64. Right. So let's call it 10. Now it's 12, right?
Yeah.
So it's not
let's
just
call it 13. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Dang. Blow. Right. Tasha making that chopper sing. Blah.
You know what I mean?
Hey. No, you're right. So I would say even if they kept it clean, maybe to your question, and you can talk about it too, is the pace of the Red Bull there to stay behind or in front of, to stay in front of a McLaren this weekend?
Right. I mean, I don't know. Max definitely felt like his time in the car this weekend wasn't the best. I mean, like we mentioned, he had some, engine troubles. So they swapped that out. He wasn't happy with the balance, the setup. I mean, but per usual, he says all that. And then we get into quali and, he's P1, he's, P2, P3. So I do think that there's some pace there. But for me, I really feel like the advantage for Max is that he has over Lando is just like a mental thing. He's just in his head at that point. So, I mean, for me, the kind of things I'm interested in is the Ferraris, how they do, because they were fighting last weekend as well. So I'm more interested to see where they end up. But I feel like Max kind of has Lando's number, and I don't really anticipate Lando doing anything crazy to overcome that.
I mean, I'm not gonna say one can hope. Hopefully it's exciting, but I'm honestly not looking for anything out of either Red Bull or McLaren. Again, I'm chips to the middle of the table, all in on Ferrari and what they can do. Right, as long as Carlos and Charles, if they have to race each other and they don't crash, obviously
papaya rules, guys.
Oh my lands. Plan D. Plan D. Question, Charles, what do you think clean about Plan D? Question.
Charles is like, what?
No, Charles would be like, well, he's so mean to his race engineer. What the hell was that? Shut up. I don't need you to talk in my ear. I'm like, dang.
It's like we wanted Charles to stand up for himself and start advocating for himself more.
Too much, Charles. Too much. Bring it down. All right. You got a little too much dip on your chips, sir.
Too much sauce. Yeah.
Just relax.
He's just about dialing it in. Yeah.
Hey, it's in prep for next year. He's mentally preparing for next year. Absolutely. So I don't know. And like you said, Max was somebody who was not super comfortable in that car, talking about I don't have the rear, I don't have the front, it's not grippy. Obviously the engine issues, they replaced the power unit with an older one to avoid the grid penalty. And who knows, maybe there's reliability issues with that older unit tomorrow. And in any case, they'll have to be, I'm assuming, a little bit conservative with how much they can push that, right? But I think they're banking on we have more than enough to stay ahead of Lando, or at least stay close enough to Lando to, if he finishes ahead of us, we're right behind him, right? So if he's P4, we're P5, P3, right. P4, right? So
agreed.
Know. It won't matter. He'll win the fourth one in Interlagos next week, anyways. So it's yikes.
Yeah.
Hey, at least he didn't win this thing back in June or July or whatever. Right. We had to drag it out. My favorite part about this season has been how all the commentators are trying to bring that drama and be like, "Oh, what an exciting!" I'm like, "It's over. It's over.
Done." It's done. That's why I said they're
now
dragging Charles into. That's why I'm like,
stop playing with me, bro. It's done. Okay, it's done.
It's a mess. Well, Max once again has essentially won a championship by himself. No help from his teammate. Checo, this is his home race, man. And I'm not gonna sit here and say I'm expecting much, because I don't think. I just don't think you can turn around your fortunes like that. But damn.
Exit, not almost last, but Q3 exit.
Yeah, pretty much almost last, yeah.
At home. So we were talking about this earlier, and what I'll say is this. Obviously I'm tapped in to Latin America, and Checo throughout the weekend has been doing obviously a lot of interviews, a lot of rounds because it's his home race, all that. And he's basically been pretty downtrodden, right? Like pretty depressed. Like his fan base, like they love him in Mexico. And that makes sense 100%. But the streets are saying that Checo now understands that this is his final year with Red Bull. And then next year he is done. So according to like something that I read, again, it's a rumor from Sky Sports, Italia. They're saying Checo's going to get demoted. One of the RB, Visa, Cash App, 241, whatever their team name is. AlphaTauri. One of the AlphaTauri kids, they should have never changed that name. One of the kids from Visa, Cash App is going to be promoted, and they're going to bring Franco Colapinto from Williams into the car. Yeah.
As they should.
Yeah, Franco needs to stay for sure.
Yeah. I would revolt if he does not get a seat. And I don't care who has to get fired for that to happen. Like,
listen,
please.
And so for me, and so this Q1 exit could not have come at a worse time for Checo when he is trying to say, no, I'm consistent. You can keep me here. Obviously, everybody knows next year is going to be the final year of these ground effect regulations, so there's not going to be an advantage. Obviously, Red Bull hasn't had that advantage this year. If they're going to do anything, they're going to need two competent drivers bringing in points. I don't think that anybody, respectfully, specifically to Yuki, respectfully, I don't think that anybody from the V-Car team is going to give you the performance that you need alongside Max to fight for a constructor. So let me go on and say that. But if Checo being shown, the door means that Franco Colapinto gets to stay in F1. Okay. So that's the thing. If you watch a lot of his interviews, and even if you don't understand Spanish, just look at his body language. His body language is definitely of somebody who's just like
dejected.
This is probably my last race in F1 in Mexico. And I'm starting, what was it, like P16?
P18.
Oh, Lord. By the way, and let that not distract you. Something else I was telling you, shouts out Franco Colapinto for continuing the tradition of a Williams out-qualifying Checo Perez in a Red Bull.
That's crazy. He should be ashamed of him. Let me just tell you something. You know what's so funny is like during summer break, right? Like they fired a whole Daniel Ricciardo because somebody came in and was like, we got to keep Checo around because, the Latin market, we want to make sure that we can sell tickets and, merch or whatever, all this stuff. These people bought tickets, these expensive ass tickets, all this merch. And granted, it's Mexico. They love him. They would do that regardless. But still, these are fans. We in this economy, buying Grand Prix tickets and you're out in the first round of Quali. Do you know what I'm saying? And like,
hey, listen,
what is happening here?
I understand. I understand what you're saying.
You were throwing a lifeline, and then you're just like, "This is it." You gotta go.
The one thing that I would say is, to me, it just. The power struggle within Red Bull has been evident since the beginning, since Christian Horner committed a crime, which he got away with, got like scotch-free. They played that long game of saying, like, let's just not talk about it. Eventually, people will forget about it. We haven't forgotten. Anyways.
It's like Abu Dhabi, but.
And so it's a power struggle, obviously, between Horner and Marco, and it's been on full display, right? Marco wanted to get rid of Ricardo back in China. Right? Marco has been trying to get rid of Checo Perez for a minute. Marco doesn't want you, right? But these, like, Horner was the one who brought in Checo Perez. And the money that Carlos Slim is there. Horner was the one who loved Daniel Ricciardo. So from the depths of hell, brought him back too, right? And so, like, yes, if you're spending money to go to a Grand Prix and you are there because of Checo Perez, awesome for you. If you are not a fan of Checo Perez, then you're like, what are we doing here? Like, why? And of course, even worse for Checo, obviously, is that a young driver like Franco Colapinto comes in who's more exciting, more charismatic, more funny, more blah, 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 this, that, and the third. And also, Colapinto is putting on full display how much we cannot trust F2 in terms of barometer for drivers and their skill. Because Colapinto, let's be real. When Williams said they were bringing him up, everybody was like, what? This guy's cheeks. He's buns. Why are you bringing him? And then all these races in, and thing that I'm reminded of is like speed is something you either have or you don't. Right. You can improve on an already existing skill, but if you're not fast, we can't teach you to be fast.
Yeah.
So for me, Colapinto's just turning F2 on its side and saying like, yeah, they're just paid drivers here.
Right.
So I don't know. But yeah, streets are saying Checo's out.
Flourishing. I mean, it has to be the same way we're talking about, Yuki has to get a test, at least a test, right? We have to say that Checo has to get fired out of that seat. Like, no, there's literally no line of logic you could follow that makes sense for him to still be employed at Red Bull beyond, obviously, he knows where some bodies are buried. But on a performance side, it's not worth it because like we had just said, Ferrari could potentially steal P2 in the constructors from Red Bull. So they actually do need him. Like, as much as we're like ragging on him, he actually is kind of needed to the front, where they are fighting for points, like actual points for constructor standing. So yeah, Checo, especially at his home race, just kind of faltering the way he did it's not good. And obviously like his qualifying today was not good. And then like the post interview is just not, it's giving, it is what it is, y'all. I tried my best and that was my best. Right. And so it's unfortunate, but I would almost venture to say that Red Bull's probably better off leaving him for 25 and hear me out. Like I'm not confident that Lawson or a Tsunoda is that much of an upside, except to say like it's just different and we don't know if they'll be better in a car that's better, right? But like we're making this huge assumption that like if you give Yuki a better car, if you give Lawson a better car, they are going to be better than Checo. But we also have to try it out because I think at the end of the day, the whole reason that V-Carb, whatever the hell that team is called, exists is so that these younger drivers do get a shot at that seat. And we've had young, inexperienced drivers in the seat before. Obviously, it didn't work out for a lot of them. But, the fact that there's no movement, it's just a stagnation in that seat for so long. And Checo has just really not been helping the team haul points. I do think that, like, regardless if they get rid of him and Yuki or Liam isn't that much better, like it's still not going to be worse than Checo sitting in that seat for another year doing absolutely fuck all. So I do think that there needs to be some motion in the ocean because
I feel you. I'm tired. I'm tired too. I think
Q1 exit and in front of Papa Perez. Your son was there.
The thing is, listen, here, can I? So keeping it a thou out. I was still hurting from the Q1 exit in Austin last week from a certain greatest of all time. So I was like, obviously Sir Lewis Hamilton is more consistent in getting out of Q3 and thing pretending to be a car. Right. So for me, I came into Mexico. Let me humble myself and let me just say, which is why your tweets resonated. Hey, we made it out of Q3. Y'all. I was like, hey man, won't he do it? We made it out of Q2. And so yeah, you're right. For Checo to do that and qualifying, it begs the question, like, does he got it? Should they move on? And again, you're right. He's not doing himself any favors. So
no. And I'm tired of looking at it. Quickly, I wanted to shout out some people I wasn't expecting to see. We have Pierre Gasly, both the Haas drivers. I was not expecting that. Alexander Albon came to the front, clocked in for work. Yuki and Liam. No, it was before the crash.
Fair. No, we're gonna leave that alone. You know what? You can bring that. You can bring that up. But
the midfield is given. It's they're kind of coming through. They're representing a little bit.
I was sitting there, K-Mag, what do you have for me, K-Mag? And then when he made, I was like, oh, Kevin, I was unfamiliar. Let's go. But yeah, the midfield was doing, and honestly, shouts out to Gasly too, because that car,
especially, I was like, Pierre.
but that's 2 consecutive weekends where Pierre Gasly has, and I think last week he had the upgrades. I think this week both of them had the upgrades, but I feel like Esteban, if anybody is the representation of, I'm just here so I won't get fined, I'll return in my 2 weeks notice, Esteban Ocon. Yeah. He's like, y'all didn't want me? All right, I'm here to cash these checks, take a little marketing photo with this new shirt, and not crash the car, all right? And I think it's kind of backfiring on Ocon because he's probably like, let's see how great Pierre is, and then boom, Pierre, Q3. 2 races in a row.
Multiple times. Yeah. I mean, for me, I was just like, it's just been nice to see. I think I was talking with Paris recently in one of our podcasts, and I was just saying how this season just feels like a nice segue into 2025. And so for me, it has been really nice to see some of the mid-tier teams, really produce consistent results. Haas definitely is one of them. Haas for me is like this year, Williams last year, where it was like, oh, you guys are kind of, balling on a budget here and getting some unexpected results a little bit. So I feel like Haas is kind of surprising me.
Is it balling on a budget, or was it because they got rid of their DEI hire? I said what I said.
Oh my God, please.
Once Gunther was gone. Because for me, the greatest mystery in Haas has been, obviously, in the time that I've been with Formula One has not been long. All right. So let me get that out of the way. Gunther was, he's this big personality because of DTS, and everybody's like, blah, blah, blah. He's unfiltered, but he wasn't doing anything. Right. And then when Haas started to be successful, because they got new blood in there. Right. And new TP was engineering background. And I know Gunther has the chops, so like it's not me saying like he's dumb, but like look at the trajectory of the team once they change the outlook and change the professionalism of the team, right? And then for Steiner to come out in the beginning of the year and basically say like they're great now, but I'm the one who had all that say in what the car looks like. Right, to me, that's like, bro, if you don't get all the way the fuck out of here. And so like I have loved to see as an American who sits here and has to take these L's with Logan Sargent.
Oh my God.
And Haas, that's just like abysmal, right? I'm just kind of like, okay, Haas. So I've been happy, but I think this should have happened a lot sooner. Gunther Steiner was just there for too long. So see, that's stagnation. You get the blood moving, and now look what happens. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just because we've seen people in these positions for so long doesn't mean that they deserve to stay. Because if you're not producing results and you're not thinking out the box, you're not trying to improve your performance. Like, what are you doing? You're just taking up space. And to your point, paging total.
Listen,
I said what
no, I've been on his ass all season because I think he's just full of shit. And honestly, like, I'm so and the fact that, obviously he's on the Mercedes board, so he's not going to fire himself or anything like that. But it's that same thing of like, how many more seasons in a row does a team need to suck this badly with all the resources in the world before we start saying, hey, let's get some fresh faces in here.
There's no shame. There's no shame in Torger taking a back seat and being a Zach Brown and bringing in somebody to be the TP. He could do that. He can fly on his jet. He can show up to the races. He can go to all the different stuff. And then just let somebody, right? But I digress. Full circle. Again, as an American, you're right. I have really liked what I'm seeing out of the midfield. Minus Kick Sauber, whatever's going on there. They don't count.
They're in the backfield.
I can't believe that Valtteri, Bottas, and Zoe, you are 21 and 23.
Isn't that crazy?
Are you
out of a 20-man race?
Find shame. All right, find wild. Shame. Yeah. And the thing is, like, it's also like unspoken that Zhou Yu is done after this. But no one talks. Everyone talks about, is it going to be Valtteri? Are they going to bring Franco there? Are they going to bring Bortoleto from F2? So it's done. So when you got that one measly peasly little race in China, they gave him the little placard, little poster board. That was
very nice.
And say, hey, we did right by you, my man. Bye.
Yeah, that Sauber is nuts. The car is just so shit. It's so annoying that it's even there. Like, I mean, but shout out to Valtteri. I will say he did have a good qualifying. I don't know if it's just the conditions of the track.
Out-qualified a McLaren and a Red Bull in the tractor. Okay, I said what I said. By the way, I'm also not going to let you slide by the fact that you said Alex Albon clocked into work. I was waiting for that moment to come. Yes, he said, when you said, oh, it looks like Albon finally made it to Q3, finally decided to clock in to where I was like, dang. Which I agree, by the way. I feel like during, was it FP1, right? When they had all those rookies there, totally avoidable accident.
What was that?
I have no idea. He's calling Behrman an idiot, but it's like, you freaked out. You got
the shoe fits. You know what I mean? You saw him
right in enough time, and Behrman got out of the way. Yeah, and I was like, hey, is he feeling that? Is he feeling that pressure from number 43?
Do you know, I thought about this because I was like, obviously I do think there is some pressure from Franco. I mean, he's 100%. He came in and he's like,
just wait till, man, Carlos Sainz is going, whoo.
Right. But then when you backtrack to the beginning of the season, when Alex was crashing just as much and damaging the car just as much as Logan was, I expected, because, like I said, always, I had Williams earmarked because they were having such a great season prior. And then this season it was just a stinker. And Logan, you would expect to be crashing, but Alex, every other,
so
much
this,
damage.
Right?
Yeah.
He did. You're right. And that's one of the things that had me hot early, because I'm at no point in time am I a Logie Bear apologist. All right.
Logie Bear.
And so for me, hey, what was that? American Eagle screech? I'll never forget. That was one of And so for me, I was hot because in Australia, Alex Albon crashed that car. Right.
Yeah.
Then they made the painstaking decision. No, it wasn't that tough. All right. The fact that you had to do that to Logan Sargent in Australia was all the evidence you needed to know you shouldn't have brought him back. All right. Full stop. Right. But what happened after Australia was Japan. And what happened in Japan? Didn't this man crash the car again? And then Alex Albon crashed the car again. So that's 2 weeks. And so he was outperforming Logan Sargent, whoop-de freaking do, whatever. Right. But you're right. I would say that, again, my skepticism early on when they brought in Franco Colapinto, I apologize to Franco. Right. By the way, I sent Franco Colapinto a DM in Spanish. I was, hey man, if you want to come on this podcast with me.
Right. Hey,
he's not responding. He's not responding. But anyways,
hit him up again.
And so with Franco, I doubted, right? Because I was like, sure, next year is when Alex Albon is going to be put to the test. Yeah. And I was wrong. And I'm happy that I was wrong. But yeah, right now it's okay, let me actually show them why I'm the number one driver. And that's fine, I guess. But everything that Colapinto does is a net positive. Literally, as long as Colapinto does not crash his car, it's amazing, because Alex Albon in Williams is supposed to be out qualifying him. He's supposed to be finishing in the points ahead of Colapinto. So it's literally everything is bad for Albon. And he got into Q3. He's supposed to do that, right?
Right.
So I'm not going to sit here and be yeah. And again, I'm not an Albon hater. That's not what it is for me. But it's kind of we are giving him kudos for stuff he's supposed to be doing on an untested rookie who's only got 5 races under his belt.
Right.
6. I don't know how many since Monza. So however long. Yeah.
Yeah. That's it. Piss or get off the pot. That's the vibe I'm on right now with everybody on the grid. It's just produce results or go. Maybe that makes me Helmut Marko. I don't know. No.
Listen, no. Well, you'd have to be racist.
So, yeah.
I don't know how to break this too.
Never mind. I'm not.
But you know the thing that I will say this about Helmut Marko. All right, for all his flaws and just general douche canoeness that he is, right? This is a sport that admittedly you can't be soft on cutting ties when the results aren't there. And Marko is anything except for he's demanding of his drivers, because the sport requires you to be demanding of your drivers. We're not here to coddle you. We're not here I understand you had a bad weekend, maybe 2, right? But if you're stringing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, okay. And Marko doesn't need that many, obviously. He's get him out. The fact that Marko wanted to get rid of Ricardo in China and wanted to get rid of Checo last year, Marko is a lot of things. But the one area that I can respect, and I feel like Niki Lauda is probably the same way, is if you're not performing, we don't have room for you here.
That's real. That's real. I'm sorry. It just is. Because when you see, Franco come in, you see Oscar Piastri, when he came in, and when you see how Liam, coming in, it's they bring so much energy, but I feel I don't want to jinx them, knock on wood. But like, you know, it just really does feel like the rookies are straight up like taking these opportunities and like actually producing results to the point where you're like, wait, so why has so-and-so just been like taking up space? Like, you know what I mean? It's not to say that, you know, a person like Checo, his experience isn't like valuable, but you can just tell he's like a wounded animal at this point. Like nothing is going to change his mentality around because he's been down for so long and he's not going to come back up. So I just think that it's time to kind of
100%
move on from that.
But Tasha, and I know you know this, in professional sports, across all professional sports, you get into your 30s and you expect a steep drop off. And the drop off for Ricardo was swift. The drop off for Checo, admittedly, maybe not as swift, but it's there, right? The Alonsos and Hamiltons of the world, and I'm going to throw a Hülkenberg in there because he's right up there in age, right? Those are outliers, right? And so for the longest time, like going back to 2022, Zoe was the only rookie. Right. And then the year after that, it was Piastri and Logan. Right. And then they brought Logan back another year. They brought Zhou Guanyu back another year. They let Checo. Right. So there was like this bottleneck effect of like mid drivers who had money that were still there. Meanwhile, you had Drugovich, who frankly, I don't care about him, but whatever. Drugovich waiting on the sidelines. Right. You had Piastri before he got a seat, who was waiting for a long time. You had Theo Pourchaire, who's over in Indy because he's not getting a seat. Right. You had Jack Doohan and Alpine, who just now got a seat. Right. So you have like this pipeline. And so like what I'm loving, obviously, is that next year, hopefully we get more, but next year we get Behrman, we get Antonelli, we get Doohan. So that's at least 3 new people, right? But like, again,
it's going to be fun.
I'm not going to say shouts out to that man, but where Marco absolutely knows what his job entails is saying, you're not fast. There's no point of sentimentality here. We're trying to win. Right. If you can't do that.
I think it also, though, is begging the question a little bit, though, is for as much as he's that, I think it also like it's like, what has their junior team produced? Do you know what I mean? Question mark. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like 100%. On the one hand, I get, and maybe that's why, is it like you're having to put all these people through the ringer because you're not as good at scouting as you thought. You know, you have to test so many different people because, you know, you can't just make, you know, you can't really, you know what I'm saying? Like, I just feel like it's like two sides of the same coin. Like, yes, for one, in the one hand, Red Bull is very decisive about some of their drivers and some of the performances, but on the other hand, it's like you're throwing shit up against the wall to see what sticks, basically. Do you know what I mean? Is that really a driver development program?
But here's the thing: it's not. But people, they it's like people they did. I don't know if it was last year or the year before. They cleaned house with their junior drivers. So again, and again, Red Bull as an organization is cutthroat. I do like Ricardo. All right. Driving skills or lack thereof aside, he's a personality, whatever. Right. But I think we can agree that send-off was trash.
Yes.
They couldn't have said, hey, Daniel, this is going to be your last race. Guaranteed. It's your last race.
Yeah, they were kind of stringing him along.
So like they're cutthroat, but again, that's what you need. And when again Marco saw this academy is not really spitting out people we can use. Yeah, we have way too many juniors here. We got to clean house. We got to start over. Something went wrong. We got to clean house. So. All right. Sorry, I've been talking about Marco way longer than I was.
Right. This is not a Marco Stan account, just for those wondering at home. Negative. Right. I guess, I mean, let me read off the grade for tomorrow, and then we can kind of chat a little bit more about like predictions or anything like that for tomorrow. All right. So setting the grade for tomorrow's race, starting P20 is, no surprise, Zhou Guanyu in the Sauber.
That's 6 races in a row, by the way, that he starts late. Oh, that's not true. I guess George started from the pit lane, so whatever.
Listen. Oh, my God. Anyway, P19.
What are we doing?
Like, just save the fuel. Do you know what I'm saying? We're talking about carbon emissions. You're just wasting gas at this point.
I'd love to
shipping that shit all over the world for it to be P20 every week. No, pack it up.
Bring on board a Lando. Might as well give him a ride in the last 5 races. Holy crap. All right, P20. So, all right, keep going about that.
Yeah. You're fine. Esteban Ocon starting P19. Sergio Perez, home race, starting P18. Best of luck to him. Oscar Piastri, who we didn't talk about, but I don't want to talk about it. He's starting P17. Franco Colapinto starting P16. Valtteri, for real. And Valtteri Bottas starting P15, which is actually very shocking, considering the state of that car.
Yeah, why are they there? All right, Audi, get your shit together.
Right. P14, Lance Stroll. P13, Fernando Alonso. This is his 400th. He's been driving since the dinosaurs roamed the earth.
He's everlasting because you know where I get blazed a lot because I'm in these group chats with Latin American fans. The love that they have for Fernando Alonso and how he's going to last forever, and the hate sometimes that they say about Lewis Hamilton, and I'm just kind of like, are we looking at the same stats? Anyway, so starting P13, hold that. All right, hold that.
P12 is going to be Liam Lawson, who, just wasn't able to produce another lap because Yuki Tsunoda in P11 crashed and red flagged that session. There we go. Hey, that's one way to finish ahead of your teammate in the quali.
I've just been avoiding because someone on this podcast said,
I'm sorry. I'm never tweeting about sports again, man. I'm done. Everything I say, just the opposite happens. So.
I just want you to positively tweet about Lando and Max tomorrow. That's all I need you to do.
Okay, you're right. Okay. Yeah. Got you. I'm picking up what you're putting down. We have Nico Hulkenberg starting at P10, Alex Albon, P9. Were you going to say something about Nico?
No, let's go Haas. All right.
Yeah. USA.
Let's go.
Pierre Gasly is P8, Kevin Magnussen P7, Lewis Hamilton P6, George Russell P5. And just again, I just did not expect either of those Mercedes to be there. So shout out to them.
All right, shouts out to them. Yeah.
Charles Leclerc is starting P4, Lando Norris P3, Max Verstappen is starting P2, and Carlos Sainz snatched pole, and that shocked the hell out of me. I really was not expecting him to be there. Over Charles Leclerc, I guess I should
say. Fair. Yeah. Okay, yeah. I was like, the car. He put together two very good laps.
Yes, he did.
So honestly, I'm happy. Again, for me, Tasha, I'm just starting to get my Tifosi and just starting that Tifosi, just starting to get accustomed to seeing Ferrari there. No, but in all seriousness, I'd say Sainz had a really consistent weekend and it showed and he put it together. And I think obviously no one's saying that he sucks, right? It's obviously just you had the option between a 7-time, 8-time world championship, greatest of all time driver. Yeah, I'm taking that. So I was not as surprised. I thought Charles would pull something out and be magical, but it wasn't shocking to see Sainz take pole, if that makes any sense. Yeah. At least not to me anyways.
I was like, whoa. I mean, because again, it's Verstappen had an opportunity, Lando kind of had opportunity, and then obviously Charles. So I was expecting it to be between one of those three. So yeah, I mean, not bad shocking, just it's you, it's you. So yeah, it's good for Carlos. The Ferraris, I'm excited to see them battle tomorrow because it's once they get close, it's going to be a thing. Who gets to finish first?
And it was a good race too last year. You remember obviously the overtake Lewis did on Charles in the grass to take P2, right? So we'll see. I expect maybe we'll see a resurgence of the safety car. We hadn't seen her in a long time. Lewis Hamilton recognized that. A man of the people brought her out in Austin. And so I have a feeling we'll see, just based on the amount of incidents we had during all the free practices, the fact that they didn't really get a full P or FP2, right? Obviously, I'm saying probably 2 safety cars tomorrow. So
yeah, okay. Do you have any other predictions or any thoughts going into the race tomorrow? I'm gonna say Lando DNF. Oh, okay. Mechanical or
no? I think. Listen. So earlier you said, and I fully agree with what you're saying. By the way, earlier you said that Lando, I think, understands the risks and what risks he can take and should.
Right.
Max clearly understands that I'm chilling. I'm in the cut. I just need to not DNF, finishing the points. Like, I've got this cushion. Great, right? I have this feeling that Lando, based on, you know, statements and pot shots that people take at him, is going to overcompensate. Right? Like, yes, he understands the risk, but I think he's going to do something that's just kind of like, it's now or never. Like, if I don't do something now, and that to me is going to be what's going to cause. I think there's going to be a collision. I don't know who he's going to take out with him, or if it's just going to be like he's going to like nick somebody and they're not going to have anything happen to them, but like his car's up. So I'm saying a Lando DNF.
That would, that would be the punctuation mark. That would be it after that.
I mean,
mathematically or not, I don't think you come back from that. So,
I mean, and then we see a Charles Leclerc go to P2 in the drivers' championship, and the narrative changes. Can Ferrari come from behind to blah, blah, blah.
Right? Oh my God! And then we put pressure on Charles. Do I have anything going for tomorrow?
I'm
going to say that I don't think we're going to get a safety car tomorrow. Granted, we did get one on literally the first lap last year. Checo did not finish this race last year.
Wait, hold on. Do you know how? Okay, so full stop. Like, in this economy, you're right. In this economy, you pay all that money. Do you know how pissed I would be if I was sitting at like the last turn? I starved for months to get this ticket just to see Checo Perez because I can't afford anything else.
Right.
And the man doesn't even make a full lap. You know how pissed I would have been like, bro, give me my money back. No, shut up. Give me my money back. Give me my money back.
I'm fighting everybody. Him out of the stadium, like covering his head. Like, listen.
As a matter of fact, I also would be fighting people in the stands.
Absolutely. Oh my God. Did that happen? Yeah.
Yeah. Give me my money back. Give me my money back. All right.
Oh my God. Yeah. I was going to say, I feel like maybe everybody got out of their system. I mean, what's left to do? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, but you're right. These are some bozos when it comes down to it at the end of the day, at their core.
All I got to say to you is, why are men? All right. That's all. We get a little heated. All right. For no reason. Anyways.
But I still feel like tomorrow's going to be a disappointing race, and I don't feel like we're going to have any safety cars.
So if you got no safety cars, then who you got winning the race then?
I'm going to give it to, I'm going to stick with my pick from last week. I think Carlos Sainz, but I can foresee Ferrari 1-2 again, or, Ferrari double podium. Yep. I definitely feel like they're kind of like, again, the sleeper team, kind of team to beat. Max and Lando are going to obviously have to duke it out at some point because they are starting quite close together. Yep. And, Lando has been able to chase down Max before. Obviously, the issue is the overtaking to get around him. So, yes, I mean, I feel like there's going to be some drama there. I don't know if it'll be early on or what, but yeah, I think it'll probably be like a Ferrari double podium. I'll say a 1-2 just for the sake, and I'll leave Max in the third place. I just feel like Lando is not going to outscore Max this weekend. I just don't see it. Barring some sort of disaster for the car, but obviously I can't predict.
Listen, I'm with you. All right. So, yeah. I'm with you, Tasha. But you know what?
Yeah.
When your prediction comes true, right?
Yeah.
Then prepare yourself for, again, the corny storylines coming. Look at Ferrari, which that will actually get me excited because I do think that more than anything, Ferrari can string some stuff together and it won't be damage limitation, and they can bring the pressure. And Charles Leclerc does know how to race Max, and Carlos Sainz, and you got two people on a team that are So let's just get them out of the way. Let's just get Papaya out of the way. Papaya rules to the back, and then Forza Ferrari.
Right. I mean, honestly, though, Charles, I feel like is in a good position. There's really no pressure on them to do anything more this season than what they've already been able to accomplish. So yes, if he's able to surpass Lando for P2, I don't see him. He just feels relaxed. I mean, even I think in Austin, he was saying, I know who Max is. That's why I was able to do the move I could do, because I knew who I was racing against. He's just so relaxed and he knows everybody. Obviously, he's got everybody's number. So he's not there's no surprises. Obviously, Max and Charles had their kind of, WDC battle-ish, at the beginning of 2022.
22,
so a little baby fight, but it's still counts for something. And obviously they have so much history. So yeah, I just feel like Charles and Ferrari as a whole this season is, yes, they can produce more results. But I don't think they feel pressured to do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, obviously they want to, but I don't think that they're like, we must get P2 in the constructor. They're like, yeah, that's possible. And I feel like that relaxed vibe is kind of works to their benefit.
So the only question that I have for you then, where do you have Checo Perez finishing?
Man, listen, where's you say P18? I always...
Do you say, oh yeah, go ahead.
Because I'm just like, it's like, realistically, he needs to have a really good drive tomorrow. And I just don't see that happening. He's got Oscar back there. He's got Franco back there. It's not going to be easy to pass either of them. He's got, who else? Liam Lawson and Yuki, who I'm pretty sure, are going to be difficult. Like,
I feel
Nico's back there. It's just, but the midfield is tough. You know what I'm saying?
Your first thing was there. He's got Oscar and Franco in front of him. Full stop.
Yeah. I'm not seeing it for him. If he gets points, maybe, but I don't know.
I would.
It's not looking good for him.
No. I just thought about like, it would be like the cherry on top exclamation point. I know for a fact this is this man's last year. If they do a Zhou Guanyu placard for Checo at the end of this race, that is a wrap. That is a wrap.
To give him the honorary Park Ferme sign.
Done.
Yeah.
You're not on the podium, but we got you this poster board.
Yeah.
So actually,
wave to your home crowd.
Stop. That's diabolical. Yo, that's an F1 backhanded compliment. That's the equivalent of like, I wish I had the bravery to wear those jeans. No. So I think he'll get in the points.
Okay.
I think he'll get in the points. Probably like
right.
P8. I'm calling P8.
Okay. I'm thinking like P13.
That's probably more realistic.
Yeah. I'm thinking points are just within grasp, right? But he's not. He's not.
You're almost there.
Especially because like Yuki and Liam are back there, and I just feel like Yuki's already been on some different energy lately anyway. And I'm not seeing it. I'm really not seeing it. But again, because everything opposite of what I say happens, Checo might win tomorrow. So you know what I'm saying? Like, all my predictions might not happen. So yeah. Anything else from you or anything that you are hoping to see tomorrow?
Yes, I am hoping to see number 44, Lewis Hamilton, finish ahead of George Russell. Obviously, only 10 points separate them. So I would love more than anything for Lewis to just finish ahead in the driver's stand.
Finish, but yeah.
No, Tasha, we have to go beyond that now. Don't let them gaslight you into mediocrity, okay? No, all right.
The Delulu Island president has
get out of there.
Evacuated.
All right. I will say that cost cap is gonna hit tough next year when you don't got your milk cow on the team anymore. So
good luck with that. Yeah.
I hope Kimi can bring in billions. And he's hurt. Torger's hurt because he's not even letting Lewis out of that contract until December 31st,
right. He said
2024.
No.
Anyway, no. I think I'm just honestly wanting an exciting race. Legitimately, I know I said 2 safety cars, whatever. I just want an exciting race. Yeah. And if it's a Ferrari 1-2, even better. If that gets McLaren out of the picture, I think the only annoying thing about that obviously going to be is if Lando doesn't finish and he all the headlines, squandered opportunities, Lando wasn't there for the moment, but that's going to get old. But at least there'll only be 4 races left to do that. Yeah. So anyways, but we'll see.
Well, I'm hoping for an exciting one too. Yes.
This is a really random aside. I can't believe I'm going to say this, but I kind of miss the European race schedule if you live in the United States.
Listen, I hate the evening races. I like the morning so I can just be done with Formula One and then spend the rest of my day. Yeah.
Yes. This is so weird for me. So weird.
I hate it.
That's not groundbreaking analysis on the Quick Stop F1 podcast.
Right. Follow for more. Yeah.
My bad. Never bring this guy back on. All right.
No,
but
we
yeah,
love
so
you.
that's it.
Yeah. No, I agree. I want my evenings and my afternoons back. Y'all can have this. I do not like. So, yeah, thank you, Emmy, again for stopping by. I always love having you on.
Thank you. Always a pleasure.
Yeah, it's so much fun. For all of you out there, thank you so much for listening. If you've made it this far, we really appreciate you. Again, we hit a milestone on YouTube. We hit 5,000 subscribers. Please make sure that if you want to support our channel, that you also give us a subscribe. You can support us through Patreon and you get ad-free content. And then you can also just leave us nice reviews on Apple and Spotify, 5 stars, just something slight, would be so lovely. And obviously just really help out the community. And yeah, that's it for me. I hope you guys enjoy the race tomorrow. Thank you for spending your Saturday with us. And remember, no matter what life throws at you, keep it on the black stuff. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, buddy.
Adios.